Let me see. Craig, how are you? Let's see. Nick, yeah, I know. Nick wrote, Facebook's been having issues all day. Yeah, for sure. We were worried about that. We almost canceled today because of all the Instagram and Facebook problems. But so Jared Harden says that he's going to be hunting out for his first year of hunting in Colorado. Cool. What do we got there?
Instagram's working.
Instagram's working, huh?
Yep.
All right. Good evening, Phil. How are you? Anyone got any questions that they want answered? Because right now I'm looking over here on the board of all of our questions. It's all about Montana and New Mexico and Colorado, because you got to hunt elk every year. But before we get to that, we got to make sure that if you want notified when we're going to go live. Dan, what's going on with... Oh, I get it. Ha! I'd scrolled my screen up too far, so my head was cut off right here. I thought you'd tilted the camera down. But if you want to get notified when we're going live, you want to text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 64600. So 64,600. And you'll get you'll get notification every time we go live. So, question. Montana deadline, March 15th, this Friday. I think this Friday is the 15th. And then 5 days after that is the New Mexico deadline, March 20th. And then what would it be? 12 or 13 days after that is the Colorado deadline of April 2nd. So don't miss them. If you miss the deadline in Montana, they'll let you buy a point later in the year. Colorado won't. Colorado has a true preference point system. Oh, what do we got here, Dan?
Questions.
Oh, questions. Look at that. They gave me the extra phone. Cool. These ones are going through so fast, I can't read them all, though. So, Montana, bonus point system. Colorado, preference point system. New Mexico, no system. New Mexico, you have to buy a $65 non-refundable hunting license to apply. Colorado, now, they changed it this year for your point and the whole rigmarole. $101.75, I believe, is what I paid the other day. And in Montana, you got to send all the money in, I believe. Do you have to do that anymore in Montana? I better not say that. I'm not a non-resident in Montana, so I can't remember how it works in Montana. I just know that go online and do it, because a paper application is a really good way to mess something up. So, this is brought to you by Bowtech, by Leupold Optics, by GoHunt.com. Go to GoHunt, sign up for the Insider, use promo code Randy and get $50 of mad money in their store. Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. Kyler, do you got your call? Oh, Kyler brought his bugle to work today, but it's in the other room. Go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, use promo code Randy and save 15% on anything you buy. And then if you go to GoHunt or Onyx Maps, use promo code Randy when you buy their apps, and you're going to get 20% off all their app products. And it's also brought to you by Ripcord, Tight Spot, and Black Gold. So, all right. Time for some questions. Jeremy says, Randy, here's a question. I found an elk hunting spot that is in a canyon of sorts. It borders state lines, by 200 yards or so. This canyon has a medium slope going down from north. Oh, looks like the question got cut off. All right. Sorry. Jeremy, that one isn't going to work out. All right. Jared asks, Randy, I have a question for you. Should I scout for elk right now to find their winter grounds? I could do that for summer as well and find their transition for certain units. That makes sense? If you live nearby, yeah, go out and just know what they're doing. Know that these winter grounds that they're on right now are like the lowest of the low winter grounds. Their wintering ground that they start using in December for those that are in the mountains are probably going to be a higher elevation than this. So if you're going a long distance to do your scouting, save your scouting days for right before your hunt. Take 2 or 3 extra days before your hunt as your scouting days. But if you live nearby, yeah, go out in the hills, go out in the woods, do whatever you can. All right. I cow called down the hall in the office a few days ago. Not a single person knew what it was. Okies, shaking my head. Oh, man, these go through here so fast. Let's see. I just started a new job and can't take much time off to hunt. What's a cheap and relatively quick meat hunt that you'd suggest? I would suggest, Marcus, that you go and find wherever there's a cow elk hunt. It's usually going to be less expensive. It's going to have higher success rates, and it's going to have a lot of really good food as a result. Let's see. You prefer a wall tent camping versus traditional tent when base camping? Every time I camp, it's in my Hilleberg tent anymore. I used to do the wall tent thing, and it's way too much work. So, let's see. What is your recommendation for a minimum arrow weight for elk, considering adding brass inserts to increase weight? Only at 385 grains currently. Arrow weight is almost like one of these Ford, Chevy, Coke, Pepsi arguments or discussions. My total arrow weight is at 496 or 498. I shoot 125 grain broadhead. So I just shoot a really heavy setup, and I only pull 60 pounds or 61 pounds. So I go heavier and just like it for penetration. If you saw the archery bison hunt that we did in Utah last year, I talked about this on the last episode. I shot that bison with that setup I'm talking about, 500 grain arrow, pulling 60 pounds, 43 yards, complete penetration, hit the shoulder blade on the other side, and the blade went in and stuck in that bone on that shoulder blade. So I'm pretty confident that my setup, if it can do that to a bison, I'm for sure that it's going to do that to an elk. So let's see. Oh, poor guy. I'm going to turn a bonehead mistake into a learning opportunity. I mistakenly drew a cow elk tag in Arizona with 8 points. Oh, no. In Unit 8 with 0 points. Thoughts on driving in blind to the unit, leaving directly from Colorado the week prior. I've had a tag in Unit 8 before. There's a lot of elk there. And I don't know if your cow season's before the rifle hunt for bulls or after, but if it's before, the elk are going to be up on mostly the rim country. If your cow hunt is after the bull hunt, the December bull hunt, they're probably going to be pushed down off the bench into the canyons. They have what's called the Mogollon Rim there, and if they drop down there, you don't want to go. But they'll be right along those edges, whether it's off the rim or in the canyons, they'll be right there every day. So I suspect you're going to be able to find them without too much work. That place has got a lot of elk in it. So, do you need the non-resident small game for Colorado just to apply for a point? Yes, you do. That's why it's going to cost $101 and something. Is it possible to edit a Montana application once it's submitted, such as changing your draw units? I don't believe it is. So, any Utah tags yet this year? No, Utah, their deadline was March 2nd, and they draw usually sometime around the 18th or 20th of May. And your credit card will get hit sometime around there. So, Montana, stop hunting mule deer bucks during the rut. Yeah, there's not, the winter we're having here in Montana, there's not going to be a lot of bucks left to hunt if this keeps going the way it is. If you limited preseason preparation to 3 things for elk hunting, what would they be? Know what the elk want, know where so I would start with know what season I'm hunting in the 5 seasons, right? Early, pre-rut, post-rut, peak rut. Early, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, late season. First, I'd identify that. Once I know that, that's going to tell me what the needs are. I'd identify the need. Is it food? Is it water? Is it security? Or is it breeding? Once I identify those two things, then I'm going on my map and I'm going to e-scout, and I will know where those elk are going to be to satisfy whatever that need is. So first you determine what season you're hunting. That tells you what the first number one primary need is. And once you know what the primary need is, then you know where you can find that elk. Those are the three things I do. So, there are so many of these going through here. All right. Gee. Any interesting new gear items that I'm excited to try this season? Still working with some rifles with Howa. I got 3 rifle boxes right here behind me. And then I got a barreled action and a stock I'm putting together. That's always exciting. I got a new pair of well, they're no longer prototypes. I had prototype binoculars, range-finding binos from Leupold for the last couple of years. Now I've got the full-blown version, so pretty excited to try that. And there's always cool stuff that comes out. Always stuff that comes out. Randy, ever done the Montana moose? I apply every year. I've applied, this will be my 28th year of applying. I've never drawn. But if you want to see how much fun it is out on our Amazon channel, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can watch us for free on Amazon. There's a Montana moose in season 5? Yeah. And then out on our YouTube channel, if you do a search at Montana moose, you'll see my son drew the best moose tag in Montana, or some would argue it is the best. And it is a ton of fun. I just wish I was lucky enough to draw. So Eric asks, Randy, how about a more in-depth review of your Howa rifles, including nozzler ammo used, their velocities and group size at 100, 200, 300, and 400 yards? Maybe Matt Hornbeck from Howa can help. Yeah, we went and did some stuff with Matt, but could we do that? Yeah, we probably could in this spring and summer when we start shooting more. The only downside is it's so condition dependent. Some days it's windy out here where we're at in Montana. Some days it's colder. Some days it's whatever. So maybe we should do it though. I'll put Dan in charge of that.
All right.
He's getting a brand new Howa. Are you getting a 7mm, Dan?
Yeah.
All right. So he's going to have to break that thing in, do everything, get it all ready to go. Mad Hawk says, Randy, what's your thoughts on Montana having these 2 back-to-back terrible winters? I think it sucks. It is. We're it's bad enough to have one of these winters, but to have 2 of them back-to-back, it's going to really, really be hard. Randy, can residents and non-residents put in as a party in Arizona? Yep, they can. Just know that if your non-resident person on that application is kicked out because the non-resident 10% quota has already been met, all of the applicants in that party get kicked out. So if I was a resident, there's no way I would apply in a party with a non-resident unless I knew we were going to draw for sure. So let's see. Randy, I like your friend from Alaska with the beard. Will you be hunting with him? This year, Jim, he and I don't think we'll have any hunts together, but I'm trying to get him on an elk hunt. You've seen him with that old custom Hawken rifle. I think it'd be fun to get him on an elk hunt with that. Are we?
No,
Or not? Hold on, we thought we were on Facebook, but appears as though Facebook is a complete dud today. All right. And someone was asking me a Bowtech question here. All right. Randy, I've noticed you use a variety of the new Bowtech bows. Have you decided on a model? Yeah, the SR6 this year. It's really nice. I have the SS. I have a bunch of them, and I don't know why. You know how sometimes you grab a bow and just the grip and everything else feels just perfect? Yeah, that's how I am with mine this year. So the downside is I've been on the road so much. All the crew are all you guys shooting Winter League this year?
Not me.
Dan isn't? You
If I'd
got,
known about it, I probably would.
oh, Marcus and Michael both are. But I've been on the road so much, I haven't been able to shoot much this winter. And out in where my range is right now, there's about 40 inches of snow. So it's tough shooting this time of year, but I'll get with it. Lady Sportsman, hey Michelle, how are you? She asks, Randy, is it bad or okay that I can only draw 50 pounds on my bow? You're fine. Don't worry about it. 50 pounds is going to take care of whatever you need. Beerwinkle says, Randy, I'm 29. I have no points in any state. What 3 states should I start collecting points in? Depends on what your budget is. If you went strictly in order of budget and said, what's the likelihood of me getting a tag from that budget investment? It's probably Wyoming, Arizona, and after that, they're all ridiculously expensive for the minuscule chance you have. Probably Colorado would be after Arizona. And it depends on what you're looking for also. Wyoming and Arizona, I could make an argument that Arizona should be first and then Wyoming. So, and then always keep in mind that New Mexico and Idaho don't have a point system. So the fact that you're just starting at age 29 in those 2 states, I've been applying in those 2 states since Moby Dick was a minnow, and you've got the same odds I do, even though you're just starting. So, someone heard my comment from last week. Dairy Queen is still closed in Williams, Arizona. New update next time. So I don't know. It looks like my crew is having their own little online chat here. Michael, Michelle, Dan, okay, you guys can talk offline. Dang, I'm trying to thumb through all these questions and I got my staff talking to each other. What is my take on broadheads? This is going to create a bunch of arguments, I'm sure, when I give my take. Understand, this is my opinion. It's not supported by any fact because I've never shot a mechanical broadhead. I've talked to a lot of people who have, and I see a lot more people go from mechanicals to fixed blades when hunting elk than go from fixed blade to mechanicals. And the reason that is elk are big, tough, mean critters. And when you have a mechanical, you introduce one more item that could possibly fail. You absorb some of the energy in deploying the blades. The blades on a lot of the new mechanicals are super wide, so you're not going to get a complete pass-through, so you're going to get blood coming out just one side and filling in the cavity. So the other part is a lot of the western states, I know Idaho is still this way, you cannot use mechanicals. So out west, you'll see a lot of people who just grew up on fixed blades. And I've shot fixed blades all my life, and so that's what I use. And so that's my take on it. Looking at Unit 313 in Montana for elk this year, it will be my first time archery hunting and my first time in the unit. Any advice? Bring bear spray. In archery season, if you're hunting Unit 313, bring bear spray. That's my best piece of advice for that. Randy, there's legislation in your home state of Montana that's trying to make moose, goat, and sheep a once-in-a-lifetime tag. What's your opinion? I have no problem with that, but if you read that bill, it's also trying to say that if you're under 18, you can't apply. Why shouldn't we allow hunters 12 to 18 to apply for moose, goat, and sheep? So it's kind of stupid to have that other part of that bill in there. Let's see. Another question. Randy, I've been browsing a ton on Go Hunt. I love it. Do you avoid the glory units that are at the top of their recommendation filter to avoid others? Yeah. I subscribe to every research service known to man. And the real popular ones that do the applications for you, Go Hunt doesn't do your application. It lets you do your own research. But there are services out there that will do your applications for you. And they say, here's our top 5. I can assure you there are no places and no states where my application is going in one of those top 5 units of those research services. That's what everyone does. Oh, well, if they say so, I'm going to apply there. Not me. So with Go Hunt, I don't necessarily worry too much about what pops up in the filtering system because I have the filter 2.0. I'm mostly looking for long-term draw trends. If you click on the draw odds, you notice how they think they got 4 years of draw history now. There's a lot of trend data there that you can look at and say, I think that's going to change a little bit this year. And so I look at stuff like that. You should go on the Joe Rogan podcast with Steve Rinella. Steve's a great guy. His office is just over here a few miles. But I don't know how you get on Rogan's podcast. I've watched the Rogan ones when Steve's on there. They're fun to listen to. Good guys. Is it worth getting a Montana deer tag this year if the winter is as rough as we've heard? I don't know. If I had the money and I had points, I'd probably look somewhere else this year. And I know some people won't like me to say that, but coming off back-to-back hard winters, if you would have asked me that question after the hunting season of 2016, I would have said, yeah, we were right at that peak where give us 1 or 2 more good winters. The number of mature bucks was getting to be really, really good. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of them last year, and we're going to lose a lot of them this year. But worse than losing those old bucks, because a lot of them die anyhow, we're going to lose the better part of 2 fawn crops. So you think about, as they normally would have been coming into that population, we're going to lose 2 years of the majority of those fawns. And that's going to hurt us 4 to 6 years down the road. So what do I like to see for bull to cow ratios? Personally, I want 20 to 100 is the units I kind of search for. I know on a lot of public land general units, sometimes you're not going to have a bull to cow ratio of 20 to 100, but that's what I'd like to find if possible. Randy, did you get drawn for Arizona elk this year? None of us got drawn. We put in for some really easy units. We must have had a pox on us when we sent in our Arizona applications this year. I don't know what the heck happened, but we didn't draw. But we struck the jackpot in Wyoming. So I guess it's some you win, some you lose, right? Randy, do you see Montana making adjustments to their elk objectives in the near future? Nope, I don't. Our current elk management plan was put together in 2004, and the department got hammered so hard by the politicians and legislators that I don't know if they're ever going to revisit that elk plan. And that elk plan, so here's how it works in most states. Your state agency says, here's our elk management plan, here's the objectives for each unit. Well, that's what they manage for. So if the politicians come in and push those objectives way down and say, no, instead of having 1,000 elk in this unit, we only want 200, guess what? You're going to have really aggressive seasons trying to keep those elk numbers down. So be involved in your state management planning process. Don't let the politicians have the final say, even though sometimes they will. In Montana, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I hate to sound like a pessimist, but it's unfortunate that I don't see it. Do bulls bugle in the pre-rut? Oh, yes, they do. Or does that push the bulls with cows in an attempt to avoid other bulls? No, the pre-rut is September 1st to September 10th, 12th, somewhere in there. You're going to get a lot of bugling that happens there. Yeah, it's not like on September 18th, but there's plenty of bugling going on in that pre-rut period. Let's see, any public appearances? Oh, let's see. When doing an RMEF event here in Montana in April, and then I'm doing the Backcountry Hunter and Angler Rendezvous in Boise, and then I'm doing the elk camp with RMEF in Park City. I believe that's in July. So I don't know if that helps. Randy, when you talk about lowered Montana deer numbers, are you talking about all statewide or just the western part? This year I'm talking statewide. Last year it was the central and eastern half of the state that got hammered. This year the western part's getting it worse, but it's still really bad in central and eastern Montana. So I'm from Colorado. What would be the next best state to hunt elk in? you're surrounded by some really good elk states. Depending on what your time and financial budget is, it'd be a toss-up between Arizona and Wyoming. Ooh, Brian, I drew a Unit 10 tag in Arizona and considered the Big Boquillos Ranch Pass. Any info on this? I drew a Unit 10 early rifle tag in 2005 in Arizona. And at that time, the Big Boquillos, you didn't have to pay for this pass. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like $60 or something. Yeah, I would buy that pass. Because if you get to the far north end, you're not going to have a lot of competition. Yeah, the elk density is lower, but there's some nice bulls there. And a lot of times you're going to want to hunt over on the west end or the southwest side, and most of that's the Big Boquillos. So I would, Brian, if I was you, I'd definitely invest in that. Oh, you just chimed in and said it was $50. Yeah. Oh, Luke is asking, Randy, when's the muskrat video coming out? Dan, when we going muskrat trapping?
Next week.
Monday. We are muskrat trapping Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. The following week, Marcus is in charge of making muskrat tacos, and we're going to invite people to our new office for beer and muskrat tacos.
Soda for Kyler.
What's that?
Soda for Kyler. Soda.
So, yeah, Kyler, we got a guy here not old enough to drink, so he's got to drink water or Coca-Cola or something. Randy, when are you going to auction off the waypoints from your GPS? I get asked that a lot. Someday when I'm done with this gig, I am going to do that. I'm going to donate them to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Randy, me and my dad are wanting to get a pronghorn tag in southern Wyoming. Where do you recommend for a beginner? Pretty much anywhere. There's so many pronghorn in Wyoming. You can't find a bad pronghorn unit in Wyoming. The downside is some units have a challenge when it comes to access. So that's where you're going to have a little bit of work cut out for you. If the draw odds are really good, the access is usually bad. If the draw odds aren't that great, the access is usually really good. But in all of them, you'll find plenty of pronghorn. Let's see. Have the changes in New Mexico changed the way you are applying for rifle antelope? Yes. New Mexico has huge changes this year. And it's going to be very, very difficult for non-residents to draw tags the way they split it up. So, yeah, it's definitely changed my strategy. Randy, do you think social media has been a benefit for the hunting community or a detriment to the hunting community? Oh, this could take the rest of this entire Elk Talk Live session. A lot of people say, oh, hunting wasn't ready for social media. And I would say hunters as a cross-section of all of society, I don't know that society was ready for social media. And people say, well, it's bad how the change in behavior people have now that there's social media. Well, my own opinion is that people who are jerks out on social media, they've been jerks all their life. They just now have a place where they can go out and prove their jerkiness a couple times a day. So if used properly, I think it's very powerful and very useful. If used improperly and you got a bunch of chuckleheads using it in bad ways, not good. So have I ever encountered a CWD animal, chronic wasting disease animal, in the wild? Not that I'm aware of. If I have, I didn't know it. Would bulls be out of sanctuary mode in a January hunt in Colorado, mainly in the rolling sage land? Yes, in January, they've probably not been pressured, so they've come out of sanctuary and they're now in the absolute core of the winter range. And in Colorado Parks and Wildlife has all this interactive mapping, and I think now you can get it on Excel, so I should look and know for sure. But it shows where the winter range is, so you know exactly where to go look for them in January. When is my spring cleaning garage sale? You know, my cousin Zeb asked me that same thing in a text the other day. I'm not sure. My mother-in-law moved in with us in December. My father-in-law passed away, so we brought my mother-in-law up, and now that she's moved in with us, we have our car in my shop. We got a bunch of other stuff, so I don't know when I'm gonna get it all cleaned out and organized. But if I have it, the world will know about it. Randy, did you draw antelope in Wyoming? The Wyoming antelope draw hasn't come yet. The deadline is May 31st, and we won't know until around the 1st of July. Will I be doing any spring turkey hunting? I don't know that I will, but the crew's going to Nebraska, and I might hunt one around here if I get a free day or so. But I've been on the road pretty much all the trade show season in January and February. I got back. When did I get back from Portland? And a week ago, Monday. And I've been gone pretty much the whole time. And then I've got this other life that I got to actually make a living on, try to catch up with a few tax returns and take care of some business with my CPA clients. So, and then I got to take my wife walleye fishing in May. So that doesn't leave Dan's laughing. That doesn't leave a very big window for turkey hunting. So I hope you understand if I send the crew out turkey hunting. Let's see. Someone says, Randy, be more worried about peace than justice. Those are wise words. Hey, right here where I'm sitting on Friday, Morgan and Jennifer and Hillary are coming in right here. We're recording the wife's version of the How to Stay Married When You Hunt podcast. So that BS podcast I did on Hunt Talk Radio with me and 3 guys, now we're going to get called out. The real facts are going to be here. So, yeah, get ready for that one. Dan, do we use a meat grinder?
I do.
Dan does. Marcus does. I do when I'm at home and I'm not on the road. And a lot of times I'm going from episode to episode, so I don't get time to process my own game like I used to. But yeah, I know a lot of meat grinders get used in our crews. Randy, what other rifles from Howa would you recommend for elk? Well, I would start on the high end. I use my Howa 300 Win Mag. Dan's going to be using his 7mm mag for elk. I use a 308 for elk. Howa now has the new HS Precision stock, Cerakoted actions and barrels. Cool stuff. So it really comes down to what your personal preference is. Let's see. I wish I could do that, Mad Hawk. Randy, would you have Jim Windham of Kenotrek Boots bless me with a little bit of his luck? Jim is the luckiest guy I know at drawing tags out at Kenotrek. So I don't know. There's not a lot of it to go around. Someone says, Randy, you should end your podcast this time of year with a CPA question. Or with CPA questions. No way. I'd give you guys bum advice and I'd get sued. My malpractice carrier would be like, oh, man. Randy, do you ever plan to hunt grizzlies? Probably not. And a lot of people ask me that. And the reason why is I lucked out. My grandfather lived in Alaska, and I was able to go up there before he passed away and hunt brown bears up there. So for me, having that experience now, I would rather see other people get the chance to do it if ever there's a season here in the lower 48. So, Randy, do you have any bonus points for Nevada that you think you'll draw? There's places I got gunny sacks of bonus points. I'm back up with a bunch of pronghorn points. I'm going to draw pronghorn in Nevada this year. I'm going to draw archery deer in Nevada this year, and here's why. In Nevada, you get 5 choices, and they look at all 5 of yours before they go to the next person. Kyler's laughing because he's from Nevada. But I put a really hard hunt as my first one, not so hard as second, a little bit easier on my third. Fourth one still would be a really great hunt. And then my last one is always like the easiest archery tag there is to draw in the whole state. So that's, yeah, I'm going to be in Nevada this year. I can promise you. No, I better not make promises. My wife says don't make promises you can't keep. Randy, will the ice be gone by May? I don't know. How thick was the ice when you guys were ice fishing? Hey,
Really thick.
Yeah, Dan did the coolest ice fishing video. You and Marcus and Michael.
Yep.
It's out on our.
Coolest is the word.
It's like cool. Okay. It's comical comedy. It's out on our YouTube channel, and now it's even on our Facebook page, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And on the Fresh Tracks Facebook page. Yeah, you will really know that Dan is from Grand Rapids, Minnesota when you hear him flip the switch and turn on the accent. He's like, man, if you ever seen the movie Fargo, Dan could have played one of the voiceovers in the movie Fargo. Randy, you should come up to Alaska and go bear hunting again. I think I'm going to be doing that. I already told Dan where I'm going, what I'm doing. And my wife said, since you're going solo, I'm going all by myself. I'm filming it by myself. My wife is not happy about that, but oh well. I'll be up there. You guys should do a cookbook. Any plans for a cookbook? I don't know, Dan, any plans for a cookbook?
Nothing. Not so far.
Let's see, how do I like the Mystery Ranch Beartooth 80 pack? Ooh, man, I love it. I took it to Alaska this year on a 10-day Dall sheep hunt. I took it to Alaska on a 5-day Sitka blacktail hunt. And these were both backpack hunts. I took my Metcalf in on the Montana 5-day elk hunt. How do I like it compared to the Metcalf or the Marshall? Depends on the application. For those longer hunts, I definitely like it better than either of those. The Metcalf for more of my elk day-to-day stuff is probably still my go-to day pack that can convert into just a great load carrier. So I'd say in my the packs that are going to get the most use from me are going to be my Metcalf and the Beartooth 80. Is my Metcalf down here, Dan? Yeah. I mean, I love this pack. Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Dan's breaking the joint all apart. So, you see this? This is my Metcalf. You can steal a lot of things out of my truck, but if you steal this, I'm going to come and find you, and you're going to hurt. I got all my cool stuff right here. Got a bunch of stuff there. Got all my stuff in here. Got the new guide light frame. Yeah. Everyone should have like 3 Metcalfs. But if you only need one, if you got one, that's going to be enough. Because I have a lot of friends who are like, Randy, can I borrow one of your Mystery Ranchers? Sure can. And we have a lot of guest hunters who we say, here, we're going to use this pack. Randy, is your Mystery Ranch pack waterproof? No, there are no packs that are waterproof. Is it water resistant? Yes. But like all Cordura products, you're better off if you put a pack cover over it if it's really wet. Randy, any north central New Mexico elk hunting experience? Yep, Unit 51. We did 2 hunts in Unit 51, and it's a tough hunt. It's not a slam dunk. It's really thick, a lot of hunting pressure, but there's a lot of elk there, and there's some really nice elk there. Let's see, what size coolers do I use for elk? I use my Orion either 85 quart or 65 quart. Oh, speaking of which, Orion has a deal for anyone who listens and follows us. 20% off their coolers. Go to orioncoolers.com and you're going to get 20% off if you use promo code Randy. So when I'm going elk hunting, depends on if I know I'm going to bone it out or not bone it out. I'm usually using 2 85 quarts and a 65, or if I'm going to bone it out, 2 65s and an 85. Sometimes I'll do 2 85s and 2 65s. And the reason that is the more total volume I have, I can put less meat in and more ice. So I can make do with, I bet you if I trimmed really close, I could probably make do almost with 2 85s, but I wouldn't have room for much ice. So that's why I grab a 65. Again, remember, if you want to be notified when we go live, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 64600. And make sure that you go to Bowtech and check us out. Because you can always watch all these old Elk Talk Lives on what? Our YouTube channel and on the Bowtech Live, I think they call it. Bowtech Archery. Randy, can you buy Howa at the big retailers? Yep. Shields, Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's. Yeah, they'll all have them. So, Randy, have you checked out the Mystery Ranch Sawtooth? Yep, I have. It's another really, really good one. Well, there's a bunch of them here. Randy, what about caribou in Alaska? You ever going to do that? Because I have a cabin you could use. Whoo, man. Next, not this year. This year I'm going to do mountain caribou in British Columbia. And the reason I'm doing it is since I was an itty bitty little tyke, about 10 or 11, my dream was to hunt mountain caribou. And unfortunately, to hunt mountain caribou in Canada, which is the only place you can hunt them, you have to hire a guide. So I got to do that, but I'm 54 years old and it's been a dream. So I'm going to do that someday, like September. But next year, this whole caribou Alaska thing, we're going to Alaska. We're doing a float hunt. Mostly I'm shooting ptarmigan and fishing for Arctic char. Dan's raising his hand. Like,
Yeah.
what's that mean?
I'm shooting the caribou.
Oh, you're going with?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Marcus and Michael weren't here to speak up. So I guess you guys will get to do leg wrestling or something to see who's going. But we're going to Alaska and we're going to float from the Brooks Range. We're thinking, we've talked to people who've done this. We're going to shoot all kinds of ptarmigan, and hopefully we're going to shoot a caribou on our float out of there. So that's the idea. Whether or not we'll make it work, who knows? We might get eaten by grizzly bears. We might capsize and drown. Other things, who knows? Randy, besides the caribou, what other dream hunts do you have? You know, I get asked that a lot. Last year I lucked out, and just out of the blue, I got a chance to go hunt Dall sheep. And so after doing that, and now the mountain caribou this year, my dream hunts are pretty much done. Other than, yeah, if in the lower 48, if I were to draw one of the sheep tags, a Shiras moose hunt would be cool. But after that hunt this fall, I don't see myself going on any more really big, exotic kind of dream hunt kind of trips. I get so much fun out of just hunting in Montana or going to Wyoming for antelope or going to Nevada for mule deer or Arizona for elk or whatever it is. I'm more than content to continue doing those kind of hunts. Let's see. Randy, you ever hunt Unit 16C in New Mexico? Well, I didn't, but I helped my son with the Unit 16C tag. And if I hadn't screwed him up so bad, I wonder what people would think if we pulled the footage out from a 2005 hunt that I filmed, terrible filming, way before the show ever started. And I tell my son, just wait, you'll get a better shot. Bull is at 121 yards. I'm behind him and off to his side. And there's a tree over between me and the bull. And I'm like, wait till he clears that tree. And he's looking at me like, Dad, I can kill him right here. And the bull's bugling. And I'm like, no, you'll get a better shot. Well, the bull walks off straight away from us. I mean, it's a big bull, Unit 16C. And I walk over to where he was at, and he had a shooting lane about 40 feet wide. So he edited that out at one time, and he said, as the elk's walking away, he puts in text, my dad's version of a better shot. Let's see. Someone says, hunting with me would be a dream hunt. Hunting with me is not a dream hunt. I'm not. Let's see. Does Randy give out his email? I have a question that is hard to answer in the amount of paragraphs here, or amount of characters here. I don't give it out, and the reason being is I'm already behind on emails by about 2,000 emails. My wife tries to sort them and handle them, but when I've been on the road all winter, it's overwhelming right now. When I come back and I look and my inbox has 2,000 emails, it's like, oh man, where do you even start? So people will get an email from me at 1 in the morning and they'll reply, what are you doing responding to emails at 1 in the morning? It's when I get them done. But someone replied, go send Randy a private message on his forum called hunttalk.com. That's a good idea. Thanks for putting that out there, Jared. So, Jeremy, yeah, if you want to send me a private message on hunttalk.com, I'm the guy who goes by the title Big Fin. And there's a long story behind that we don't have time to talk about here. So, Randy, post that footage. We would love to see that for sure. How old does a kid have to be to apply for tags in New Mexico? I don't believe that New Mexico has an age. I think they only have to pass their hunter ed certificate. I could be wrong in that, but I think that's one of the states where there is no age restriction. What is the most beautiful place that you have ever hunted? Boy, I've hunted a lot of amazing places. I really don't know. There's so many I can't list them all. The Wind Rivers in Wyoming was, man, that's beautiful. The Crested Butte area in Colorado is beautiful. The East Humboldts and Rubies in Nevada are beautiful. In Alaska, where we sheep hunted this year, in the Wrangles, that's beautiful. I mean, people are going to be like, that's every place you go. Yeah, I'm lucky. I get to go to some amazing places. But, oh well. I don't know what to say, folks. I live in the greatest country in the world. I'm the luckiest guy that ever walked. If you ever see me with a frown on my face, kick me. Because I have nothing to do. I have nothing in my life that shouldn't cause me to smile perpetually. So, let's see. Thoughts on the Missouri breaks for archery elk? It's good. It's a limited entry draw, but it still has a pretty good amount of hunting pressure because most of the public land's along the river, and so that's where most of the hunting pressure ends up. So if you got a way to get around or you got access to a private ranch, you can get away from some of that hunting pressure. This kid says, I'll become an RMEF life member tonight if you let me help pack on one of your hunts this fall. Just go become an RMEF life member anyhow. Randy, can you talk a bit about how the Montana Block Management Program works? There's two types. Some are just sign-in boxes where you show up and you sign in, fill out your information, and off you go. And then there's another type that require you call the landowner or they call it block management coordinator, and you get on a list. It's like making a reservation. Montana has the block management program. Wyoming has the hunter management areas and the walk-in hunting areas. Kansas has walk-in hunting areas. Let's see. Arizona has VPA, voluntary public access. Idaho has access, yes. So a lot of these states, the Dakotas have plots, they call it. A lot of them have things like Montana's block management system. You really got to go out to the website and read up on how it works in that state. A lot of people ask, how do you draw these tags in Wyoming that have these really hard spots to gain access to? Well, on their website, don't tell everybody. There's a little button that says private land, public wildlife. And it shows maps of where all these walk-in hunting areas are. Odds are, if you've seen me hunting antelope in Wyoming, there's a good chance it's not that far from a walk-in hunting area. I can't believe I just told everybody that. That was the dumbest thing I've done. Dan's shaking his head like, you idiot, Newberg. Oh, gosh. Randy, at what age did you start hunting? As far as my own age when I started hunting, in Minnesota where I grew up, you couldn't hunt until you were 12, but I was tagging along with my dad and my uncles since I was 4 or 5 probably. Low battery. Low power mode, is that what I do?
Sure.
Okay. Randy, why do you hate Washington State so much? Jeff, I don't hate Washington State at all. It's just we try to show people where you can travel and have good hunting, mostly elk hunting. And it doesn't make sense for people to drive through all the Rocky Mountain states to get to Washington, which usually has a higher cost of hunting in some instances, and very often has a much lower quality and a more crowded situation, and shorter season types. There's a lot of reasons why Washington rates pretty low down the list. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's just the truth. So that's why we end up with never hunting Washington. So someone says, good on the administration for passing the public lands bill. Yes, I'm very glad the president signed that. I'm very glad that the Senate put that bill through the Senate, and I'm glad it went over to the House and passed there with no changes, and I'm really glad the president signed it. So we're releasing a podcast this week. I did an hour-and-a-half podcast with Senator Steve Daines from Montana, one of the guys who led the charge in the Senate, and it's a pretty fun podcast. I think you're going to like it. It's going to go, when's it going to go live? Well, his staff is approving it. I sent it to him. They're approving it today, I think. So hopefully it'll go live tomorrow. That'd be great. Let's see. What do we got here? I lost all my questions. All right, here's a question that comes up very often. It has to do with party hunts. Randy, 4 good friends are applying individually for New Mexico elk. If only one draws, a suggestion on how to handle the actual hunts with multiple people enjoying the experience together. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a rifle hunt or if it's going to be an archery hunt. But if it's an archery hunt, the great part of it is you certainly could use at least one person calling while the hunter's out in front. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to have 2 people back there calling with the hunter out in front. And maybe they're slightly apart, the 2 callers and a person out here. So if it's an archery hunt, I can think of a reason, something to do for at least 3 of them. And if you got a 4th person, maybe the 3 who don't have the tag, they rotate as the 2 callers and just make it fun. I know this, once you have it on the ground, you're going to be really happy to have 4 people instead of 1. So, Randy, when does Pronghorn Talk podcast launch? I'm going to leave that to my buddy Eli Grimmett. He can do that one. Randy, where do you get your mittens? All right, you see I wear chopper mittens. I don't have them with me here. I get them from Frost River Trading Company in Duluth, Minnesota. Anyone who grew up in the North, Dan, I notice you have choppers.
I do.
Yeah. If you grew up in the North Country, you're not a gloves person. Gloves are for people who want cold fingers. You ever see people, the natives up on the far Arctic wearing gloves? No, they wear mittens. You ever see a logger in the North Country of northern Minnesota or Maine or Canada wearing gloves when it's super cold? No, when they're out there working on equipment or something or changing tires, they're wearing mittens. Anyone who traps beaver, ice fishes, you wear mittens. Throw the gloves away, okay? And quit having cold fingers. I don't know how many people I got to tell. Yeah, choppers, hockey on the lake. There we go. We got somebody here who knows what he's talking about. Randy, what's the best places that you have eaten out while traveling on all these wonderful hunts? Let me think. There's a pizza joint in Carbondale, Colorado. I think it's called White House Pizza. There's a little mom and pop restaurant or a homemade food restaurant in Williams, Arizona. I think it's called the Pine Cone. Those are probably the 2 that immediately come to mind. Dan knows that I have the most bland palate in the world. So if you're looking for ethnic food or something, there's Jerry's Donuts in Rawlins, Wyoming. Don't go through Rawlins without stopping at Jerry's. There's a bunch of other ones that I have on kind of my milk route of where I stop. But someone said you forgot about In-N-Out burgers. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm not a fast food dude. I'm not an In-N-Out guy. All right, Dan. Dan's working on a video that'll answer this question. Randy, for filming your own hunts, do you have a camera recommendation?
Ooh.
Dan is working on that. He's going to talk about action cams, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk about DSL or mirrorless cameras and handy cams.
Yep.
So when those 3 videos get posted, Dan is your man. He's going through in intense detail that you're going to... Oh, here, someone says it's the Pine Country restaurant in Williams, not the Pine Cone. There we go. All right, thanks for clearing that up. Oh, someone says, you betcha. Oh, best pie while on the road, Pie Town, New Mexico. I know people are going to think, what, Pie Town? No, if you go through Pie Town, way out in Catron County, it's the real deal. They have a pie shop, 2 on the north side of the road and 1 on the south side, and all of them have great pie. The coffee in Pie Town needs some improvement, but at least the pie is really good. Didn't Michael do a camera on video last year? Yeah, he did, but he didn't do it. It was like general overview of tips. Dan says that he's going to put it in the context of if you're going out to film your own hunt, right?
Yep.
So Michael was just talking about pictures with cell phones or point and shoots or DSLRs. Dan's going to take it to the next level of here's what you think about depending on if you're filming an archery hunt or a rifle hunt, and we're going to assume you're by yourself. So, let's see. For self-filming, any preferences for apps on the phone? I don't know. Do you prefer the 3rd or 4th rifle deer hunt in Colorado? I'd prefer the 4th season, but it takes you can draw 2 or 3 of the 3rd season tags before you draw a 4th season tag in Colorado. So I'd rather do 2 or 3 3rd season tags than to wait forever for 1 4th season tag. So we got to make sure that everyone knows who makes this possible, right? Bowtech, Loophole. You with me? Go Hunt, Onyx, Ripcord, Tight Spot, Black Gold, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. And for Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Onyx, and Go Hunt, use promo code Randy, and it's going to save you some money. We're working on more promo codes. I'm out on my Hunt Talk forum. I got to start a whole segment that says save money with these promo codes and have a link and what the promo code is. Because when I'm at the store, my wife has some app on her phone where she can get coupons on her phone. I don't know what it is, but she'll hold her phone up to the scanner and bloop, $4 off. We got to have something like that for the hunting world. Promo code Randy. Let's see. I'm interested. I don't know what that says. There's a bunch of them in here. How do you hunt Canada being an American citizen? You got to hire an outfitter for the most part. In some states, they'll let a resident of that state sponsor you for certain species. But for the most part, if you're an American going to Canada, you're going to be hiring an outfitter. Let's see. What else we got, guys?
There's a couple of questions on the Google Doc.
Oh, did you send some there? Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh. Kyler's been sending me questions, and I've just been blowing them off. Where are you getting those from? The other pages?
Live stream.
Okay. What is my preferred broadhead or point for grouse? I use judo points. My buddy Corey Jacobson, he uses these really mean-looking small game heads. I don't even know what they are. But
Small game head?
no, I'm not sure what they are. But anyhow, there's all kinds of them out there. You can make do with whatever. Method and cost to take care of and bring back an elk when flying to a hunt. I use my Orion coolers. We've flown with bears, coos deer. We just get it broke down, put it in the cooler, chill it to the greatest degree we can before we head to the airport. Check it, and off we go. They usually put a sticker on there that says perishable. So that's how we do it. Someone wants to know about the New Mexico antelope changes. They're so lengthy that I don't have time to explain them all here. I don't mean that as a punt, but it's changed completely. So either go out to Go Hunt, sign up for the Insider and get it there, or download the regulations from New Mexico Game and Fish and read it. It's pages of changes. So, Randy, is there a promo code with your buddy Bo who owns Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas? I don't think Bo has a promo code. We're getting ready to do so much fun stuff. I don't know if I can let the cat out of the bag here, but I didn't tell you guys this. We're going to have we're going to randomly draw somebody who gets to come to Bozeman, Montana this summer, and we're going to do some e-scouting with them.
Oh, yeah, you told us that.
Did I tell you that? Okay. But I can't let that cat out of the bag yet. I better not go all the way through. The folks at Onyx will probably be mad at me if I say something that we haven't really fleshed out the details on. Randy, you ought to pick up fly fishing. Nah, Michael does fly fishing. I'm a walleye fisherman, man. All right, Dan?
That's right.
Yeah. Walleye fishing, if you hook them, you cook them. You knock them on the head, you bleed them out, and you fillet them, and you throw them in the pan. All right? And nothing against fly fishing. I get it. It's probably good fun, but it's just not my style, man. I'm there to eat them. And if you do that with a trout, like when I first moved here to Montana, I'd grab those trout and crack them on a rock and throw them in the cooler. And people would look at me like I just shot their dog or something. I'm like, this isn't for me. So, let's see. Corey says, Randy, do you think trail closures and restrictions for vehicles, ATVs, UTVs, etc., on known migration corridors would help, specifically between September and April? Yes, it would help. All the science says that elk, when they encounter motorized traffic, have a negative response. And that's not me saying that as some sort of personal statement or political statement. There's volumes of research out there. Go read the research in the Starkey Experimental Forest in Oregon. They've studied this stuff like crazy. One of the things in Montana, when motorized travel got to be a really big deal, I'd moved here in 91. I think it was in 92 or 93 when they had the open houses for all the season settings. The Fish, Wildlife, and Parks people got up and said, look, we're doing a show of hands here. As motorized travel is increasing, we got to think about this, because if it's like most of the other states that won't address it, we're either going to have shorter seasons, because in Montana we got an 11-week season. We're going to have to go to more limited entry draw. 130 of our 160 units are general draw, over the counter. And we're probably going to have to go to choose your weapon. Or we can work with the Forest Service to manage when there's some seasonal closures of trails and roads. So they said, how many would like seasonal closure of trails and roads and keep your 11-week seasons, keep your over-the-counter tags, not have to choose your weapon? At the meeting I was at, there were probably 200 people, and everyone who did raised their hand in favor of the longer season and, close some roads and trails. And then they said, well, how many would like to leave everything open? And nobody raised their hand. I don't know if they just felt intimidated because the mass of people who said, leave the roads closed and leave the seasons long was so large. But anyhow, to Corey's question, yes, it's proven beyond any doubt that in places with significant amount of public land hunting pressure, it's because as quick as I say this, someone will say, well, I drive on my uncle's ranch and the elk just stand there and look at me. Yes, they behave differently if they're not exposed to hunting pressure like they are on public land. So the studies show that on public land with heavy hunting pressure, elk are going to respond negatively to motorized travel. It's a fact. So I think part of the reason in Montana we're able to have the longest seasons in the West, the largest amount of over-the-counter general hunting as far as total units and percentage of the state, I think the big part of that reason is our Game and Fish Agency has worked heavily to maybe not close roads, but at least seasonally close them or restrict them to certain dates of when you're allowed to go in there unmotorized. And I know that upsets some people, but someday I'm not going to be able to hike into the places, and I'm going to be in that same situation. So, whose phone do I have here? This yours, Dan? All right. What do you think we ought to do? what type of socks do I wear? Kenetrek. Oh, man. Kenetrek makes the best socks. So, we're going to be doing some special deals with Kenetrek over the summer. Gosh, there, I let another thing out of the bag. But Kenetrek socks, best socks you're going to find. Best boots, best socks. You can't go wrong with Kenetrek socks. All right, guys, what do you think? Next week? You think Facebook will have their act together? You think Mark Zuckerberg will actually get it dialed in? Jeez, for as much money as that guy makes, you think he'd be able to at least have something more than a piece of copper wire heading out of the headquarters there at Facebook? What a joke. Now I'm going to get banned from Facebook for picking on Mark Zuckerberg. All right, folks. Remember, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock, text Randy to 64600. Share with your friends. Go and watch us on YouTube. It's Randy Newberg Hunter. Go watch us on Amazon Prime. It's Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg. Follow our 2 podcasts, Elk Talk with me and Corey Jacobson, Hunt Talk Radio with me. Go to our hunttalk.com forum. Sign up there. What else we got? Instagram and Facebook. And those are both Randy Newberg Hunter, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There we go. And apply for tags. March 15th, Montana. March 20th, New Mexico. April 2nd, Colorado. Don't forget. Good luck. Thanks for watching.